Draffet, Mr. App Store, and this week is on strengths and weaknesses. Now, everybody's got strengths and weaknesses, no matter how, well, perfect, and I say that term loosely, uh, you you come off, or how good you come off at something. I've known a lot of guys that they've tried to hide their, trying to make it seem like they didn't have any weaknesses, and they actually honestly did. Um, Now, I was reading a book. Well, I'm actually in the process of reading about 3 books right now. And that's one of my strengths, is that I can actually remember each part, where I'm at, and read 3 books at a minimum or maximum of 3 books at a time without any problems. That comes from years of going to school and having 3 or 4 textbooks. And roughly 20 something years of reading comics. Even having to remember all the storylines, and when you get 50 comics, you get 50 different storylines, so you have to remember everything, so it makes it easier for other things. Now, I'm not going to say that I don't have any weaknesses, because I do. I have a lot of weaknesses, and unfortunately, like I was going to say, the one book I was reading, and I can't remember if it's the book on Kung Fu or autobiography of Bruce Lee, but one of them talks about that most people work primarily on their strengths and try their damnedest not to work on their weaknesses and build up their strengths more. But you build more. It's more character building to build up your weaknesses. And personally, I have to agree with that. I mean, anybody can work on their strengths and make their strengths stronger. But it takes a whole lot to admit that one, you have a weakness. 2, to admit and to confront the weakness and try to make it better. And 3, try to make yourself a better human being all the way around. And I'm not just talking being good at like soccer, okay? Because I've met a lot of people that they were good at something, and they've tried to insult me by saying, well, you're not good at that, you'll never will be, blah 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 blah. And I just gave up and just went, whatever it is, it ain't worth it. But in other areas of my life, I have sat down and looked at, what it is, and just said, to hell with it, I'm going to try. I just did it. Was I totally successful? Well, time will tell. Being the fact that one of them is my inability to properly be too overly sympathetic to kids, and that discipline them properly, being soft around them. Well, I worked on that one with my, making my brother's kids tougher than they were. And hopefully I can do the same with my kid. Now, like I said, I do have a lot of weaknesses. I won't get into them too much, but just say, stick to this with something is one that my ability to keep my get rid of my issues is another. AE cash problems. In a lot of other areas, though, I'm actually, not not too bad, working it to make a weakness a strength. Once I've, but there's the problem of going back through and looking at it as, do I really want to do this? Do I have the time to do this? Do I have the money to do this? And, do I want to show people that really don't matter to me that I can be a better human being than they think? That's that one right there is probably my greatest weakness. But with my kids, I'm going to try to make them well-rounded human beings. Make them get something good, work at it great, find out what their weakness is, and then make it better. Like, one of my weaknesses is story problems. I've never been good at them, but I've also never gone out of my way to try to make myself better at them or know how to. Don't really need. I mean, I could, but I really don't need to because I don't have anything in my life that I have to deal with story problems. But if my kids do it, I will go out of my way to make sure that they better themselves at whatever that is that they're doing. And by bettering, I mean getting it so that they have very few weaknesses. Say if they're playing baseball and the weakness is throwing out from far out from center field to, say, home base. Get it to work on their throwing arms, make them stronger. Maybe they can only go from like first to home base. So, but I will attempt to help them get themselves to be better human beings, and I'll explain to them why. See, my father never did that. And I won't go into any details on anything because really it's part of my life I don't really care to go into in any detail. But with that, my best thing to do, I'm going to try to keep this short because I can go on and on and on and on about it, like a lot of things, and I'm not going to do a rambling, is if you know you have a weakness, try to make it a strength. Try to improve upon it. Whether it's your writing is sloppy, spend as many hours as you can to make your writing better. Don't go out for perfect. And if you're going to do it, tell yourself, okay, I'm good, this is good, but I can do better. And keep doing that. Because, with certain things in my jobs lately, and I learned this technique over the summer, it's helped me out because I can pay attention to certain things a little bit easier, better. I'm looking at parts better. And I do this with my daughter, with her walking. I tell her, you're good. No, but you can do better. And that's what all I want, is my daughter to be better, a better human being. Less ego in anything. And willing to help other people, whether they're friends or people she doesn't like, to make them better, to make the world better. Because, we live in a crap-ass world, and I don't care what anybody says. But we do. And the only way to do that is for an individual person to make themselves better and get rid of their weaknesses and show their strengths and help others to become overcome their weaknesses and become better people. With that, this is Draffet. This is Draffet Store. Have fun.